Kevin Costner was born on January 18, 1955, in Linwood, California, into a working-class family that valued discipline and responsibility over glamour. His father, William Costner, worked as an electrician and later a utility executive, while his mother, Sharon Ray, was a welfare worker deeply connected to community service. As the youngest of three boys, Kevin grew up learning how to observe before speaking and how to adapt quickly. Because his father's job required frequent relocations, the family moved often, forcing Kevin to constantly start over in new schools and neighborhoods. Those early disruptions shaped his independence and quiet resilience. Rather than seeing instability as a burden, he learned how to read people, listen closely, and find confidence within himself. Long before Hollywood entered his life, Costner developed the calm presence and grounded masculinity that would later define his on-screen persona. Discovering storytelling without chasing stardom. Unlike many actors who dream of fame from childhood, Kevin Costner's path toward acting was unexpected and gradual. He enrolled at California State University, Fullerton, where he studied marketing and finance, fully prepared for a conventional business career. Creativity, however, kept quietly pulling at him. During his college years, he became increasingly interested in storytelling and performance, though he still didn't imagine himself as a movie star. A chance encounter with actor Richard Burton on a flight proved pivotal. Burton's candid advice about following creative instincts struck a nerve and lingered long after the flight ended. That moment planted a seed. Costner began taking acting classes, performing in small theater productions, and working a range of odd jobs to support himself. What stood out wasn't sudden confidence, but persistence. He committed to learning the craft patiently, believing that meaningful work would eventually find him if he stayed the course. The long road through rejection and patience. Kevin Costner's rise in Hollywood was anything but immediate. His early years were defined by auditions that went nowhere and roles so small they barely registered. One of his first significant opportunities came with Lawrence Kasdan's The Big Chill in 1983. Although Costner filmed several scenes, they were ultimately cut from the final release. For many actors, that setback might have ended momentum. Instead, Kasdan remembered Costner's screen presence and professionalism. 2 years later, he cast him in Silverado, a role that finally introduced audiences to Costner's understated charisma. The film didn't just offer exposure, it validated years of quiet persistence. Costner had learned to treat rejection as part of the process rather than a verdict on his talent. That patience became a defining trait. He wasn't chasing quick fame, he was building a foundation. And once that foundation was set, the momentum began to grow steadily, becoming the face of the American hero. By the late 1980s, Kevin Costner had become synonymous with a particular kind of American masculinity: calm, principled, and emotionally restrained. His performance in The Untouchables positioned him as a reliable leading man, while Bull Durham and Field of Dreams revealed a deeper emotional range. These films resonated because Costner didn't overplay heroism. He embodied decency in a way that felt authentic. Audiences trusted him. There was sincerity in his performances, a sense that his characters carried moral weight without grand speeches. That quality made him relatable across generations. Costner often gravitated towards stories about redemption, responsibility, and quiet courage, themes that reflected his own values. As Hollywood leaned into spectacle, he remained focused on character. This balance of strength and vulnerability turned him into a cultural fixture and made his success feel earned rather than manufactured. Music, nature, and life beyond film. Beyond acting, Kevin Costner has consistently sought creative fulfillment outside traditional Hollywood paths. Music became one such outlet. As the lead singer of Kevin Costner and Modern West, he found another way to tell stories, this time through songs rooted in Americana, love, loss, and the Western landscape. The band toured internationally, earning a dedicated following that appreciated sincerity over spectacle. Costner has also maintained a deep connection to nature, spending much of his time on ranches in Colorado and California. For him, these spaces represent grounding rather than escape. He has often said that creativity flows more freely when life feels balanced. This approach to living, slower, intentional, and reflective, has helped him sustain longevity in an industry known for burnout. Rather than chasing relevance, Costner built a life that supported it naturally. Family, fatherhood, and personal accountability. Family has always been central to Kevin Costner's identity, even when fame complicated that commitment. He has 7 children and frequently speaks about fatherhood as one of his greatest achievements. His first marriage to college sweetheart Cindy Silva began long before fame entered their lives. Together, they raised 3 children while navigating the pressures of a rapidly ascending career. As professional demands intensified, the marriage ultimately ended in 1994. Costner has openly reflected on that period as one of emotional reckoning, acknowledging the difficulty of balancing ambition with presence. Years later, his marriage to Christine Baumgartner marked a new chapter. Becoming a father again later in life reshaped his priorities, offering perspective and patience. Although that relationship also eventually ended, Costner has remained focused on respect, co-parenting, and personal growth. He has never framed family as an accessory to success, but as its foundation. A career renaissance with Yellowstone. When Kevin Costner took on the role of John Dutton in Yellowstone, it marked a powerful return to cultural prominence. The character, a complex, stoic patriarch protecting both land and legacy, felt like a natural extension of Costner's long-established screen persona. Yet the performance also revealed new layers: vulnerability, moral ambiguity, and emotional restraint, sharpened by age. The series introduced him to a younger audience while reaffirming his appeal to longtime fans. Yellowstone wasn't just successful, it re-established Costner as a commanding presence in long-form storytelling. He approached the role with seriousness and respect, understanding its cultural resonance. The show's themes, family, land, loyalty, and consequence, aligned closely with his own values. Rather than reinventing himself, Costner refined what he had always done best, portraying men shaped by responsibility, silence, and enduring commitment. Robert Redford as mentor and mirror. As Kevin Costner reached his 70s, he began speaking more openly about the figures who shaped his artistic life, none more influential than Robert Redford. Their relationship was never built on rivalry, but on quiet admiration and shared values. Costner has often described Redford as a model of integrity, an artist who took risks without losing his moral compass. Redford's transition from actor to director, particularly with Ordinary People, showed Costner that storytelling could extend beyond performance. Their conversations, often private and unpublicized, focused less on fame and more on meaning. When Redford considered Costner for A River Runs Through It, the discussions left a lasting impression, even though the role went elsewhere. For Costner, Redford represented possibility, the idea that success and substance didn't have to be mutually exclusive. Shared values rooted in the American West. One of the strongest bonds between Kevin Costner and Robert Redford has always been their shared reverence for the American West. Both men see the landscape not as a backdrop, but as a living presence that shapes identity and values. Redford's work through the Sundance Institute and Costner's dedication to Western-themed storytelling reflect a belief in place as character. Their conversations often drifted toward nature, history, and responsibility rather than industry trends. Costner has noted that these discussions reinforced his belief that stories matter most when they are honest and grounded. The West, for both men, symbolizes independence, restraint, and moral consequence. It's a space where silence speaks and choices carry weight. That shared perspective influenced Costner's creative decisions, encouraging him to tell stories that honored tradition while questioning myth, rather than glorifying spectacle alone. Integrity, risk, and creative courage. Kevin Costner has repeatedly credited Robert Redford with reinforcing the importance of creative courage. In an industry that often rewards compromise, Redford stood as proof that independence was possible. His commitment to nurturing new voices through Sundance left a profound impression on Costner, who saw firsthand how integrity could shape legacy. When Costner committed to Dances with Wolves, he drew strength from Redford's example, believing that trusting one's instincts was worth the risk. Even decades later, Costner has said he still hears Redford's influence when directing, an internal reminder to slow down, listen, and find truth within a scene. Their connection demonstrates something rare in Hollywood: mentorship without ego. Rather than competition, there was alignment. Two artists moving in parallel, guided by the belief that storytelling should reflect purpose, not just profit. A legacy defined by respect and reflection. As Kevin Costner enters the later chapters of his career, his reflections carry the weight of experience rather than nostalgia. He views Robert Redford not simply as a mentor, but as a symbol of what an artist can aspire to be: authentic, thoughtful, and principled. Costner's tribute is not dramatic or overstated. It's measured, much like the man himself. Success, in his view, isn't defined by box office numbers or awards, but by integrity and impact. If his films have moved people, made them pause or reflect, he credits those who showed him the way. At 70, Costner's words feel less like a confession and more like gratitude. Acknowledging influence doesn't diminish achievement, it clarifies it. And in honoring Redford, Costner ultimately reveals the values that have quietly guided his own enduring journey.